If you want to see where India's natural beauty, ancient temples, and rural traditions actually collide, you have to look at Birbhum. This distinct red lateritic terrain, the deep clay canyons giving way to green fields, creates a physical and cultural boundary that isolates the district from the rest of West Bengal. For over 100 years, getting deep into this region was bottlenecked by a slow, century-old narrow-gauge railway. That changed in 2018. The Ahmadpur Katwa line was converted to broad gauge, finally opening up hard-to-reach rural nodes like Labpur to standard trains. But better tracks haven't brought integrated planning. You are still left figuring out the schedules and connections yourself, forcing a hard question. Does the profound heritage here justify the massive logistical effort required to see it? This map shows West Bengal's tourism infrastructure. Notice how amenities are heavily concentrated, glowing bright around Kolkata and Shantiniketan. But as we pan to the rural Ahmadpur-Katwa corridor, places like Gopalpurgram, that heat fades completely. This is off-grid territory. It lacks a destination management organization. There are no unified itineraries, no helpful signs, and no smooth transport links. It creates a frustrating paradox. You have world-class academic and spiritual heritage sitting directly on top of highly fragmented, local-class infrastructure. Visiting Birbhum means treating your time and your patience as capital. Before you pack a bag, you have to run a strict return on investment analysis. The easiest entry point is Shantiniketan, the mainstream hub built around the literary and humanist legacy of Rabindranath Tagore. We evaluate all three of Birbhum's circuits using a scorecard matrix, looking at the input, outcome, and trade-off. For Shantiniketan, the input is mostly financial. The friction is low because standard trains and accommodations are easy to book. The outcome is immediate immersion. You get direct access to curated artisan crafts, like this hand-stitched kantha embroidery, and highly structured cultural festivals. The trade-off is the crowds. High accessibility creates an environment where you often trade raw, quiet authenticity for a crowded, commodified spectacle. It works perfectly as a low-friction gateway. But if you want the unfiltered rural reality of the district, you have to look deeper. That brings us to the deep rural interior, mapping a route out toward Labpur and Gopalpurgram. Let's run this unpolished circuit through the scorecard. The input here requires serious effort. You are navigating unpredictable local passenger trains, figuring out your own last-mile transit, and sleeping in basic accommodations. The outcome, though, is unfiltered access to living folk history, like the Baul Fakiri musical traditions played right in front of you. You get direct, unscripted interaction with tribal community practices, like these Santhal women dancing to the rhythm of local drummers. The trade-off is fragility. Without centralized planning, your itinerary is incredibly brittle. A single missed local train can derail your entire trip. This trail offers the region's most direct immersion into living history, but it extracts a heavy tax on your planning skills. The third pillar of the region shifts entirely toward faith. Globally significant Shaktipeeth sites like Tarapeet and Fulara. These locations are underpinned by deep historical roots and incredible architecture scattered across the district. Let's look at the scorecard for this final intense circuit. The input is massive. You have to manage unregulated local economies, extreme seasonal crowds, and frequently poor sanitation infrastructure. The outcome is active participation in a vibrant, living spiritual economy that operates unlike anywhere else in the world. The trade-off is a complete loss of comfort. The sheer sensory overload and environmental strain will immediately shatter any expectation of a relaxing holiday. Visiting these nodes is an act of rigorous pilgrimage. It demands a total reset of what you expect from travel. Because Birbhum forces a DIY approach, you must map your constraints before booking a ticket. This flowchart breaks down the decision based on your tolerance for friction. If you are time-poor and comfort-reliant, your destination is Shantiniketan. Bypass the deep interior completely. The logistical friction yields a negative return on your limited time. But if you are authenticity-driven and budget-conscious, the rural and religious interior is open to you. You'll reap an enormous return on your investment here, trading patience rather than capital. Until planning catches up with the railways, Birbhum remains a high-effort, high-reward frontier. It pays out beautifully if you're willing to embrace the friction.